A team of incompetence. That's the focus of tonight's Angle.
This is a defining moment in the chaos that is this presidency.
The reputation of the United States has cratered.
I've never seen an instance when the president is so detached from the reality of what's going on.
It's a slow-motion disaster machine.
Well, they worked overtime to brand the Trump White House as out of control from day one. Time magazine, inside Donald Trump's White House chaos. The Guardian, chaos in the White House. There's never been anything like this. Yet when the media cried chaos, what they really were expressing was fear. Now, why fear? They knew Trump was going to do what he promised to do during the campaign. In other words, take the country in a new populist direction. In other words, a gut punch to the old establishment in both parties. Unlike so many others, Trump just wasn't willing to play the old game of media patty cake in exchange for more favorable coverage from them. So they set the stage for the completely bogus Russia collusion investigation, the targeting of Michael Flynn, the phony claims of racism, the sham impeachment proceedings, and much, much more. And because of that wildly biased reporting, most of what Americans saw during the Trump years was a swirl of controversy. Yet now, look at where we are. America is truly in danger under a president who is physically and mentally deteriorating before our eyes. And real chaos, and I mean real, is unfolding. Food and fuel prices are devouring family budgets. Schools are under siege by radical anti-American forces. Inflation spinning ever higher, and Democrats just recklessly try to spend and borrow even more money in order to grow the government. All of which means you'll have to get used to a lower standard of living. Now, chaos is inevitable when you assemble a team of incompetence. People chosen not because they're the most experienced for the job, but because they checked the diversity, equity, and inclusion box. Even CNN had to admit what we warned about last spring. Kamala Harris is floundering, writing, Harris is struggling with a rocky relationship with some parts of the White House, while longtime supporters feel abandoned and see no coherent public sense of what she's done or been trying to do as vice president. Defenders and people who care for Harris are getting frantic. Then there was Jen Psaki's Sunday night desperate tweet defending Harris as a, quote, vital partner and, quote, bold leader, which, of course, only made matters worse. Literally, there is no human being on Earth right now who's thinking, thank God Kamala is there working with Biden because she's a bold leader. Now, they've had to do similar propping up of diversity cabinet pick Pete Buttigieg, who took 2 months off during a crisis. He's such a lightweight, the administration had to pull in former New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu to oversee the spending of their phony infrastructure bill. Because when I think of New Orleans, I think of smart budget priorities. And then low-energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, who needs to buy a vowel on gas prices.
The president is all over this. The president is looking at the limited tools that he has. I have nothing to announce on this, but no, he is looking and evaluating all of his options, limited though they may be in the United States.
Are they looking into the oatmeal bowl? What do you mean he's looking into? What's he looking into? Go to the gas pump. You don't have to look into it. It's like $4.75 a gallon in D.C. It's one incompetent after another. Blinken at the State Department looks like a fawn in the spotlight who lost his mother. And let's not forget John Kerry, who's now in a position of outsized authority, ready, willing, and able to give China whatever it wants for vague assurances on climate goals. Then General Mark Milley, Secretary of Defense Austin, they're still bumbling about looking for extremists in our own ranks. That's our biggest threat. Still no accountability for 13 dead Americans or the 120,000 unvetted Afghans who are flooding our communities as a result of the half-cocked withdrawal they did from Afghanistan. And we don't need to remind you of the infuriating performance of Secretary Mayorkas at Homeland Security, who just has no intention of stopping the flow of illegals swarming our border. An overrun border, remember, is the Biden administration's policy. Well, Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen, She's now just making stuff up.
The pandemic has been calling the shots for the economy and for inflation. I think it's important to realize that the cause of this inflation is the pandemic.
Wait, is this her way of admitting that inflation won't be temporary? Because the virus isn't going anywhere anytime soon, clearly. And one of the dimmest of bulbs in a drawer of low-wattage intellects is Biden's chief economic advisor, Brian Deese.
We know that the more that people feel comfortable getting out into the economy, going to movies rather than buying a television at home, working in the workplace, the more we can return a sense of normalcy to our economy. Getting those shots out for 5 to 11-year-olds is going to provide a lot of comfort to American families. We're making a lot of progress on that front.
Wait. Is he not aware of the fact that red state America, Florida, Idaho, Tennessee, has pretty much been back to normal for most of the past year when 0 5 to 11-year-olds were vaccinated? Frankly, the only part of Biden's administration that seems to be making an effort is the comm shop. Every day they're out trying to sell sand in the desert.
We look at most of these data points through the prism of COVID, and we know that we were in this place we are in now because of COVID, because of the impact of the pandemic.
Now, you might not be able to buy many Christmas gifts this year, but Biden just signed into law a new government slush fund for Democrats to direct toward their friends and cronies.
This law was supported by business groups, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, organized labor, who understands this about jobs. Special thanks to the AFL-CIO, the United Auto Workers, the electrical workers, the IBW, the iron workers. It goes on. Who would I leave out? Pardon me? And my wife is a member of the union, the NEA. I'm going to get in trouble.
But the real question is, what does Corn Pop think? The internal chaos might not be reported on much, but the voters know what's happening. The havoc the Biden administration has caused in 10 short months is astounding. But he had a lot of help from the most incompetent White House team in history. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.